I stopped going to class. I would always find excuses not to go, and I just stayed in my room all day on my computer, usually watching YouTube. But that could sound like a bad thing, but that's actually what saved me. I was just spending so much time on YouTube, you know how it is, you just get lost in different videos. All I knew before were like funny videos and stuff, and I finally discovered this other side of YouTube where I found some videos about mental health, about self-love, and about veganism, and I started learning about it, and that's when I got kind of interested in all this. Stupidly, I fell into the banana girl trap, raw till 4. I wasn't really vegan at that time, but I kind of tried to implement it, but more for health and appearance, like looks reason. Very shallow, very selfish, but that's how it was, and that destroyed my health completely. Well, if you don't know what it is, just like basically you eat raw food and mostly fruits until 4 p.m. and then you have one cooked dinner, and this girl is like so fit that you just think that you're gonna be like her, because that's what she tells you the whole time. And yeah, I had way too much blood sugar, and I had spikes of energy, and I was crashing and I was fainting all the time, even though I was eating huge amounts of food, way too much. At some point I went vegan and was eating like this, and I blamed it on veganism, so I thought it was veganism that wasn't good for me, so I went back to eating all types of pieces of dead bodies. I started like learning a little bit more about how to be better with myself, be kinder to myself, love myself. I was still very sick, but that's when I decided to move back to Belgium and to leave LA. So at first I was planning on just trying to apply for a long-term visa and stay there forever. I don't know. And then, but my school year, like I was supposed to stay for 12 months for 1 year, and I left after 10 months and even less, but then I went back. And then I just kept going back and forth. Complicated. But I went back to Brussels. Then I started really taking care of myself. I started meditating. I started doing things that were good for my body. Because I was following people on social media that were making me feel like I was worth something. It wasn't just showing off your life and your body and what you want people to be jealous of you for. So that was really positive for me. And that's when, I don't know what was the switch, but something switched in my mind, and I decided to stop and take care of myself and move forward. I don't know if I read something or heard something, I can't remember. But that's when I decided also to quit smoking. So it's gonna be 1 year in a few days. It's gonna be 3 years in a few days since I quit smoking. I told myself that when I decided to quit smoking, I was also quitting making myself throw up. I stopped these two things at the same time 3 years ago. I gained so much weight. Shortly after this, I went vegan for real. So 2.5 years ago, I went completely vegan, and I will never, ever go back. But so I was eating much healthier, not raw till 4. But yeah, quitting smoking and stopping throwing up at the same time made me gain a lot of weight. For about 12 years, my body had lived on about like 500 calories a day, tops. What I was trying to say is, as I was only having that small amount of calories every day, when I finally started to eat a normal amount, even if it was less than what's usually recommended, I gained a lot of weight because my body wasn't used to getting more calories than this. Because I was almost never keeping anything in my body. I would throw up after literally every single meal. Every single meal. Yeah, disgusting. Mostly if you have never done this, you can't understand, but it was stronger than me. So I was gaining weight, but at the same time I was becoming happier. I was starting to love my body for what it was. I realized that my body was my only vessel in this life, and that I had to take care of it because it's the only one that I have and that I will ever have. So I had to cherish it and see it as a temple and love it and nurture it and nourish it with healthy, good food. And that food wasn't just about weight and appearance. It was about like feeling good inside of yourself. And also veganism gave food another purpose. So by choosing what I was eating and how I was eating it, I was also having a positive impact on something bigger than me. And that, yeah, actually just getting out of my little bubble and stepping out of my own tiny world made me, I don't know, I feel like made me a better person, I guess, and made me appreciate life and appreciate myself and my body for what it is. Because I mean, you can't change, yeah, of course you can change your body, but like you can change it in some ways, but not many. And you can't get out of your body and get another one. So that's all you have. So you have to accept and love it for what it is. Otherwise, you're just gonna be miserable for your whole life. And that's not what life is about. So I was back in Belgium, and that's when I decided that I wanted to see more of the world and wanted to travel a lot. So that's about when I started my YouTube channel. Yeah, almost about 1 year after I quit smoking and puking. I remember that when I was in Iceland in December 2 years ago, and then I went to the LTA Summit in January 2017, and then I went to South Africa. That was the time where I was at my highest weight that I've ever been. I remember the highest I've been to was 69 kilos. So yeah, that was a shock for me. And by no means am I don't want anyone to get offended by what I'm saying about the weight and everything. That's just like how I was feeling about my body, because I just couldn't recognize my body. But I knew that I was becoming healthy, so that's why I wasn't really bothered. I could see in people's eyes that they were judging, and because they didn't know what was going on in the background, they didn't know where, like, how far I had come from. And I remember that one time, I think it was after I came back from South Africa. So I was still, yeah, much heavier than before. But I was confident in my body, I was feeling good. And I was at a bar, and this guy comes in that I knew from before and I hadn't seen in about 2 years. And he didn't even say hi, he just said, "Oh, Noor, fuck, you're fat." I was like, what? Hello? And like, wow, what happened to you? You became so fat. What? You used to be skinny. What happened to you? And he kept saying it. I was like, just, well, get out of here. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Why would you ever say that to someone? And that stuck with me for so long. Just how mean people can be. I'm like, why would you ever say that to anyone? What did it bring to you? Like, if you ever said this kind of thing to someone, please stop. Like, don't ever be like this. You don't know what's happening in someone's life, so you can't make assumptions and just judge people without knowing. Anyways, when I was in Iceland, South Africa, I don't have a lot of photos where you can really see my body at that time, because I was so self-conscious about it. And I was feeling good because I knew that I was healthy, but I was feeling very bad in a way that I was really feeling like I wasn't looking good, and I didn't like the way I looked. When I was in South Africa, so that was like 1.5 years after I kind of stopped everything and cured myself, I relapsed. I have to admit, quite fast when I arrived in South Africa. I started throwing up again, rationing my food. It wasn't as bad as before, but I mean, it was so extreme before that I think it was still pretty bad. And after my 3 months, I came back home. Well, when I was in South Africa, there was like this first half where I was still partying and drinking a lot of alcohol and everything. I was still very unhealthy in that way. And then I had this whole shamanic journey that I won't talk about here now. but that made me realize that I had to stop drinking and everything. So I stopped drinking. I was much healthier, and I went back into a healthier routine. I was meditating every day. I was doing yoga. I was journaling, and that's when I started like having a very, very good healthy routine. Because also a little bit before that, I went back to LA for a month in September 2016, and that's when I read The Miracle Morning by Al Elrod, I think his name is, and that completely changed my life. And that's when I started really meditating more, doing more yoga, working out, running, and that's when I started becoming healthier. So yeah, so I came back from South Africa. I booked my ticket to go to Southeast Asia in October, so about a year ago. During the summer, I was getting better. I wasn't throwing up at all. I was good. I lost a little bit of weight. I was feeling better, but also I have to say, because I used to weigh myself 3 times a day usually, sometimes more, sometimes less. I would usually weigh myself in the morning and at night. But when I was traveling, of course, I didn't have a scale, so I couldn't, and that was so good. I only was able to weigh myself 3 times when I was in Cape Town, because there was a scale in the hostel for the bags, but I was using it for myself. So I did like when I arrived in Cape Town, and then halfway through my trip I was back in Cape Town, so I did it again, and then before I left. And so I was getting better. I left for Southeast Asia, and I still had a lot more weight on than before. I knew it, and I could see it in some photos, and I could see it on myself, and I wasn't feeling good in my body, even though I was feeling good in the sense that I was feeling healthy. And I knew that I was stronger, that I could do things, but I wasn't feeling good, like, appearance-wise. And I started becoming a little bit more self-conscious again. Once in a while, I would still throw up if I ate too much in my eyes or something too unhealthy. But all in all, that whole year almost in Southeast Asia was much better. Apart from towards the end when I was in Bali, I don't know why, I just kind of started becoming depressed again. I was being very alone, very lonely. Not alone, I love being alone, but I was starting to feel lonely, which I don't usually have when I'm alone. I'm gonna talk about where I'm at now before I tell you how I cured myself, because it seems more logical. So now I've been back for a few months. I'm much better. I've moved into this new apartment. When was it? In September. So it's been about 2 months. I've never thrown up in this bathroom. I made a pact with myself to never do it. And when I make a pact with myself for something, I stick to it. I feel like I'm cured, because like it's been 3 years since I've only relapsed a few times, and for like shorter periods of time, and really not as bad. But I think eating disorders are something you can never really cure. Well, you can cure them, but they will always be with you. Unless maybe, I know that some people have them for a few months or maybe 1 or 2 years. But like when you've had them for so long, I'm sorry, but they're kind of a part of you. Some people might not agree, but I know that most people who have had one agree. Like this voice is always in your head, telling you that you're not good enough, and it's an uphill battle. It's a daily fight. It's a daily struggle. You always have to fight against it. And on days that you are feeling down, these are the hardest days, and the days when you have to fight even stronger. I think I'm kind of at a healthy weight, even though I barely ever weigh myself anymore. I have a scale, but I've gotten into the habit of not weighing myself. Maybe I maybe do it like once a month, once every other month. My issue is I have no idea what I look like. This might sound crazy, but I don't know what I look like. One day I'm gonna think that I'm huge. I'm gonna look at myself in the mirror. I'm gonna be like, my God, you look disgusting. What have you done with yourself? And the next day I'm gonna be like, oh, I look good today. Like, I feel fit. I feel like I look good. And that's impossible, because your body can't change that drastically from one day to the other. It's in my mind. It's my head. So I have no idea what I look like. Like when I look at people, I'm always wondering, not always, but like I get to wonder, like, do I look like them? Do I look bigger? Do I look smaller? I never know. I cannot like put my, like if you just had a line of strangers of different sizes and you would ask me to put myself in where I thought I belong, I would have no idea. I know I'm not on any extreme, but I don't know what I look like. It's weird. So that's where I'm at right now. I love myself. I love my body. I cherish it for what it is. Some days I'm gonna feel more beautiful than others. Yeah, I make it a priority to love myself, even though it's not always easy. And I don't really usually feel that beautiful, but I'm trying to. Taking photos in which I feel good and think that I look good is a great help because it kind of boosts my self-confidence and my self-love, so that helps. Sometimes editing videos can be very, very harsh because I see things that I wish I didn't see. But yeah, I think that's it for where I am at now. I think we can jump to how I fixed it. Okay, so what worked for me? Planning is the best thing. The most important thing, I think. At least that's what works for me. And so having a schedule, not something strict. Maybe at first you just want to plan your meals for them to be healthy and not too much. Just like making yourself a meal plan that you like the food, and sticking to it is so helpful because that's what I do. I try to do it. So then if once in a while I eat something else, I eat out, I eat some fried food, I'm not going to beat myself up because I know that I have this overall healthy diet. And also the rare times when I've been purging have been when I really didn't stick to my schedule. I felt lost because I had no purpose food-wise. Might sound weird. Just planning my meals has had such a huge effect on my recovery. And also, you know that I am very into sustainability. And realizing all the food that you waste while some people are dying of hunger, you're like, wow, how selfish am I? Yeah, I don't want to point any fingers. I don't want to tell you if you have an eating disorder that what you're doing is bad and that you're a terrible person. No, because like that's not your fault, it's in your head. But just thinking about it can be a good way to help yourself see the bigger picture and see that if you want to help others, helping yourself is a great step to be able to help others. And also you can't really do much for other people or for the world if you are not feeling good in your own life. So my recovery has been a very long and hard journey, and it's still not over, I guess, but I don't see myself as someone who struggles with an eating disorder anymore, because I am not. That's why I think that I know what I'm talking about like recovery. I'm sure it would have been much better and much easier if I hadn't been traveling that much and if I had stayed in one place, because I could have had like a real schedule and a real recovery program. Also opening up about it. There are not that many people that I can talk to about it, but now I made it like something very important to just open up about it and talk about it. I'm not scared. I would always hide it before, and now when someone talks about eating disorders, I jump into the conversation and talk about my story. It really helps to open up, to not make it a taboo anymore. And meditating has had a big role in my recovery because it just helped me focus and stay grounded. And also another thing is I learned to eat intuitively. So I would plan my meals, but not the times. Like I'm gonna, if I find it, I don't remember which one it is, but like my friend Silka made a video about intuitive eating a few years ago that really helped me. I watched it pretty recently. So she explains that when you want to eat intuitively, you have two aspects of hunger, so mental and physical. You have to make sure to ask yourself when you want to eat if it is both physical and mental hunger that you're feeling. Because if it's only one of the two, you don't need to eat. You can wait. So only eat when you're feeling both hungry in your stomach and when you notice that you're just like thinking about food. And that has helped tremendously. It has taught me to listen to my body more and also eat more slowly and eat my greens first so that I would be sure that I would get all of my nutrients straight away and at first, and then gradually eat the rest. And if I feel full, I'll just like put it aside and eat it later when I'm hungry again. Planning and intuitive eating. These are the two biggest things in a recovery. And also not weighing yourself all the time. I'm sorry, this isn't planned. I only had a few notes about my story to remember, but I don't have any notes about this. So yeah, also not weighing yourself all the time, because numbers don't really mean anything. You could be gaining muscle and losing fat and you would weigh more. So you shouldn't trust your scale. Numbers don't really mean anything. Yoga also really helps. Working out in general, but just starting straight away to work out a lot can be pretty hard. And also, if you're someone who compensates eating a lot of food and binging with a lot of exercise, maybe it's not a great idea to just like go do like hard workouts straight away. Yoga is more gentle. Maybe do a 30-day challenge. That has helped me too, and I just restarted one of the 30 days of yoga with Adrienne. Just learn to make pacts with yourself. If you make a pact with yourself, the only person you're going to disappoint if you don't stick to it is yourself. And you want to love yourself. You don't want to hate yourself. Try to promise yourself some things, and if you don't think you can do it, like find someone who can hold you accountable, like a family member, a friend, whatever. Someone who you can tell whenever you've done, I don't know, if you commit to doing 30 days of yoga, someone you can send a photo to after your workout to show every day that you've done it and that it wasn't just words. If you have a friend who wants to eat more healthily, even if they don't have an eating disorder, maybe you could like plan meals together and like find recipes together, and that would help. I don't really believe in support groups, or maybe they can, I'm sure they work for some people, they're just not for me, I think, because I don't think that being surrounded by people with the same problem would help me, in a sense that I might feel triggered, and just like listening to other people's stories may just mess with my mind. I think that's it. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments and let me know if you want me to talk more about one of the many areas I touched on, about one of the many things I've touched on in this video, and I can make a whole other video. I could also make a Q&A about eating disorders if you want, if that's something you would be interested in. So let me know everything that you think. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you for sticking with me all the way until the end. If you're still here, let me know, because that means that you are amazing. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was very hard to film. I'm sorry if it was too long, but I'm not sorry actually. I'm not gonna apologize, because that's just how it is, and it felt good and was important for me, I think, to talk about it so openly. So thank you very much. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because that always means a lot, and it would be very amazing if we could grow this community a little bit more. And I will see you very soon. Bye bye.